Hey everyone, we just wrapped up the Dodge Hellcat install. Unfortunately for this car, we didn't get much video. We were a little distracted with smaller installs coming in, and frankly, we kind of forgot to get most of the video we wanted to. But that's okay. We're going to do a walkthrough right now and show you what's what. So if you remember, this car came to us because an install was done elsewhere, and frankly, it wasn't to the customer's satisfaction. Started off with, pretty nice gear, some Focal Utopias, Morel Supremos, you flip-flop back and forth, wasn't happy with either of them. Turned out to be mostly tuning related, partially install related. Both of those, speakers are great. He also had a pair of JL W3 woofers in this massive sealed enclosure that took up like half of his trunk. And we got the okay to redesign the trunk, and this is what we came up with. Pretty much totally stock looking. We went with a falls floor for the amps and a spare tire well enclosure for the subs, which are now AudioFrog GB12s. The only thing that doesn't really look stock in this trunk is the fact that we raised the back half by 3.5 inches. And you can see here we have this little Alcantara hook on the panel that protects the GB12s if he wants to put anything in here. And we used OEM matching vinyl to wrap the inner portion of this. And we also have this section back here. Sorry, I gotta put this down. It's hard to reach. And we have ourselves a pair of Mosconi AS series amplifiers. In the front, we have the AS 100.4, which powers the mid-range and tweeters. And in the back, we have the AS 200.4. This is powering the mid-bass on 2 channels, and then the other 2 channels are bridged at 2 ohms to provide the subwoofers with about 950 watts, I think it is. So yeah, that amp is pretty impressive. It can do bridge at 2 ohms, if that says anything. So moving on to the front here. In the doors, we ended up settling, the customer brought both sets of speakers that he had. We ended up settling for the Morel mid-bass drivers in the doors. When he came in, he didn't have any deadening in the doors. And we went pretty ballistic with them. We used Resonix squares on the outer skin. On the inner skin, we also used Resonix rope in the crash bars and little nooks and crannies on the door panel. And we also used FD1, the Resonix FD1 closed cell foam on the inner skin to prevent the door panel from rattling against the inner skin. Now, moving on to the mid-range. This is the first time we used these in a customer's car, which was the Focal Utopia M mid-ranges. 3.5-inch drivers. They pretty much dropped right into the OEM location. And frankly, they might be some of the best sounding mid-ranges that we have used to date. The only time we've used them before this is in Kevin's personal car, and they do great in there. They do great in here as well. And frankly, this might be a new favorite for us. Moving on from there. Actually, not moving on from there. You also remember we created, new grills for these. The OEM ones were pretty restrictive, and, you saw why earlier in this series. And this new grill actually worked out really well. We didn't have the upper end roll off like the OEM grills had. So that was pretty nice. Moving on to the tweeters. He supplied us with a pair of Focal Utopia, the beryllium tweeters, not the M series, the original ones. And they are housed, right in the A-pillar. And, they do pretty damn good also. First time for me, I think, using them. I've tuned them before, but never actually installed them. So that was pretty nice. And we also have the Helix Director up top in the sunglass holder. Let me turn this on and you can see. So yeah, this worked out pretty well. And the OEM radio is going The OEM radio is going into, let me shut this off. The OEM radio is actually going into a Pack Amp Pro, and the Pack Amp Pro is supplying a flat, clean signal via optical out into the Helix DSP.3 that we have in the back. And that's doing all the processing. That's doing all, you know, we use that for pretty much every one of our installs, and they work great. So yeah, pretty straightforward install. The only thing that wasn't so straightforward in the trunk was we had to relocate the battery, which used to be about here down low, obviously, and we relocated it to over here underneath these panels. The reason for that was we wouldn't be able to fit the subs, and we also moved the fuse panel. Actually, I don't know if it was moved. Actually, yeah, I think it was moved, which is actually sitting right under there, so you could still have access to that fuse panel. I don't know if you could see it, but that's a nice little feature that Kevin added. And another thing that kicked my ass were these dash grills. Never really done anything like this before. You know, molding something to the shape of the dashboard. This dashboard is not flat. It does have a curve to it. So that was my first time doing something like that, you know, making grills that actually had the curve. So that was a little bit of a hassle, but you know, I learned a lot. Open to doing it again, but I wish I was prepared for how much work that would have been. But it's kind of hard to see. I can't really get up top because I have a light up here on my camera. Let me see if I can get up here. But yeah, my favorite part of these is obviously, you know, the Hellcat logo that's inset into the grill itself. And, you know, you can see the Utopia M mid in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. One of my favorite sounding cars in, you know, recent time. And yeah, so hopefully Tom likes it. He'll be here in the morning to pick it up. Hopefully I can remember to get videos with him, unlike the last few videos. But yeah, stay tuned. Should be fun.